Welcome to the Chasing Spirituality podcast. I'm your host, Megan, and I'm so excited that you're joining me today. Each episode is full of heartfelt and expansive content that will really help you expand your consciousness and grow as a person. I created this podcast because I wanted to share my own personal experiences on my spiritual journey, but I also wanted to meet others and have them share what they've been through and how they've gotten to where they are today. If you haven't done so already, it would really mean a lot to me if you could rate and review the podcast. This really helps the podcast grow and reach more people, but it also allows me to get more guests on the show. Now on to today's topic. And in the community, you have heard me talk about my guide, Zion. And this first kind of happened, I'll just do a little bit of backstory and talk a little bit about how this came about. So, I was meditating in the shower, and I was getting the feeling that I was being contacted by something other than just a normal guide or an angel. I work with guides a lot, I work with angels a lot, but this energy felt just a little different than any energy I've worked with before. It felt more high vibrational. It just felt stronger to me. And a little different from the angels, because angel energy is also pretty strong, but it also just felt slightly different. And so I wasn't really sure what this was, but I had a feeling it was like, I don't know why. I just wanted it to be like a galactic guide, like, I don't know, you've seen the channels who channel like galactic beings and stuff like that, like the Arcturian or the Pleiadians, like Bashar. And so I kind of was like, okay, well, maybe this is that, because I've been feeling called to channel more since I've started channeling the records more. I have noticed that that's where my energy's been drawn to. I've been wanting to do more channeling, to do more Akashic Record sessions, and so I just had a feeling this was some kind of higher vibrational being that wanted me to channel them, and I wasn't sure who that was. So I'm in the shower and I'm meditating, and I'm like, okay, you're gonna have to show me that you're really here. Like, you're gonna have to give me proof, because if not, I'm gonna be skeptical. Like, this is something I haven't really done a whole lot before, and I always like to approach things with a healthy amount of skepticism, even though I'm extremely open-minded. And so I was like, you're gonna have to just prove to me that you're here. Like, if you want me to channel you, you want me to start working with you, you're gonna have to give me undeniable proof that I'm not making this shit up. So I asked them to give me a word that I wouldn't make up, like that wouldn't make sense to me, that I could use to identify them or relate to them in some way. And out of nowhere, I heard the word Zion. And I'm not going to lie, I was like, what? Why did I just think Zion? That doesn't make any sense. And I kept discrediting it. Like, this isn't the real sign. Like, there's no way you gave me Zion. And I was like, isn't that like in the Bible? That sounds like a lot of the churches that are over here in the South. And I was like, I just don't know that I believe that. And they wouldn't give me another term. They just said, we'll prove it to you. And I said, okay. And so I went about my day, and I kid you not, on three separate occasions that same day, I encountered the word Zion in random interaction. Not prompting anyone for it, just talking randomly, and it popped up in conversation. I'll give an example. So I was talking to one of my friends, and she was telling me about a dream that she had, and how in this dream she was visited by her grandparents, and they've both passed away. So we were thinking it was definitely a visit. And she said that they kept taking her, or they led her to this church. She was led to this church. And I was like, oh, well, is it like a church that you know? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, what church is it? and it was Mount Zion Baptist Church. And so that's like one of the scenarios that came up for them to, again, show me this sign and help me believe in myself and in my ability. So before we move on, I just want to tell you that it's okay to doubt yourself still. It's okay to doubt what you're getting and what you're receiving. Now, obviously, we want to do work around that. We want to heal that so that we can trust ourselves more, but that doesn't happen overnight. It takes lots of work and lots of practice. And I still doubt myself. I still doubt myself when I get information or when something comes through. I do. It's part of the ego. It's part of our programming. But I have noticed that I've gotten a lot better. So if you doubt yourself, ask for more clarity. Ask for another sign. Ask for more information that will make you feel comfortable. It may not always come the way that you expect it to, but if you ask, you will receive. You just have to be open-minded and open to the signs. And eventually, you got to just stop second-guessing them. So, moving on to the rest of the story. So I decided, okay, I believe you that this is Zion. I believe you that this is your name, or maybe where you reside, planet, like, I don't know. And so I started doing this research to see if there was anyone who had channeled, some kind of being named Zion. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find any planets named Zion. I couldn't find any constellations named Zion. I couldn't find anything like in the galactic world or in the channeling world that had this name. And so I started getting a little frustrated because I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. And so I said, okay, well, I guess I just need to ask Zion, like, who are you? Why are you here? What does that mean? And that kind of stuff. And so I did a channeling by myself where I was going in between states of asking the question that I wanted to know the answer to and then answering through Zion, or Zion answering through me. Yeah, that works better. And I didn't really want to do it this way because I knew that I would put more blocks up against myself if I were the one to ask the questions, that it would be easier for me to channel if someone else asked me the questions. But at this time, I just didn't have the opportunity to have someone channel me or channel with me, and I just needed to connect. I just needed to connect and know more. And so I may share that. I haven't decided. I may share that first channeling session. I haven't decided if I'm going to or not yet, but that one is not video. It is strictly audio. So I first started off asking, who is Zion? Like, what is Zion? And I'm not going to lie, my ego did not like the answer. Like I said, I was expecting it to be like some kind of galactic being, some kind of unknown alien race from another planet or something like that, like a Pleiadian type of deal, right? So that's not the answer that I got. The answer that I got was that this is a sixth density vibrational being that is of my higher self, essentially. I started to realize through different channeling sessions, because I've had a few since then, where I've been the questioner, but I've also had other people question as well, and that works, like I said, a lot better for me, but we're practicing. And what I was told was that Zion is a collective energy, a collective consciousness, kind of like what you would think of as a hive mind. But it is a collective consciousness of souls that are part of the same soul family, part of the same soul unit. They are soul bounded to each other. And this, they don't need a body. They are not bound by a body or by a planet, or anything physical. They don't need any of that. They can speak and communicate and travel telepathically. They are not bound by this universe or by any parallel universe. They are above all of that because they are so high in density. And so I asked them if they could give some examples of what another known being like this would be, another known being or entity or spirit or whatever you want to call it that is channeled, one that the collective may already be familiar with. And the example I got was Abraham Hicks. So you can kind of compare the two. I did ask about the Arcturian, if the Arcturian were a level 6 in frequency, and the response I got was sometimes. So I don't really know exactly what that meant. I didn't ask any further questions, but just based off of feeling alone, it feels like sometimes when they're channeled, they're 5th, and sometimes when they're channeled, they're 6th. But again, I have not asked that directly. So you can think of a collective consciousness as like a version of your higher self. And to be very specific, it is the highest version of your evolution, the highest version that you will ever be. That is what Zion is for me. And that is essentially what these higher vibrational beings can be. And Zion said that because they are a collective consciousness of many different souls, that includes the different incarnations of my soul and of my soul family, because I'm connected to them. Zion is my higher self, my highest self. That's another way to think of them. And that's why when you feel like you're connecting to a guide, or you feel like you're connecting to your higher self, sometimes it may be a masculine guide, sometimes it may be a female guide, sometimes it may feel like someone fun and exciting, and then sometimes it may feel like someone wise and understanding. All of these guides, all of these spirits that assist you and help you and guide you, whether you call them a guide or an angel, whatever you want to call it, whatever feels right or resonates with you, this can really apply to just about any belief. But though your intuition, that higher self aspect of you that you connect to, that's why sometimes they can have those different faces. Your guides are still an extension of you. Your guides are still a version of your higher self. They're a version of your soul, or a version of a soul that you're extremely connected to. So a member of your soul family. And as you two work together, you are both helping each other, because your guide is helping you grow and evolve, which in the same regard helps them, because you evolve as a unit. When you evolve, so does your soul family, because you guys are all here to share vibration. You guys are all here to work with each other, to help each other, to be the catalyst for growth. Sometimes that means your relationships aren't so great. Sometimes they're rocky, but we need those experiences to become a better version of who we are. Sometimes your relationships are great, and they really do truly help you become a better person. You're a better person because they're in your life. These people, and you'll know which souls I'm talking about. You'll know who is part of your soul family. You'll just know. No matter what the relationship was or looked like, you'll know that their soul is connected to yours. You can call this soulmates, you can call this twin flames, but and go back and listen to my soulmate episode, my twin flame, soulmate, soul family episode, because I go a lot deeper into this. This would be a really good episode to listen to after this one, if you haven't checked it out yet. But you have many different soul family members. You have many different souls that are connected to your soul, and you all help each other through this life school, right? We go through different lessons, and we level up, and we change, and we grow, and so on and so forth. So all of your incarnations, you've incarnated with these people. They've either been guides to you, or they've incarnated with you to learn experiences as well. And you've also been able to share those experiences. So now you have many different lessons to learn, many different ways to be empathetic, many different ways to be human, because you're connected to these souls. Well, what happens when all of those souls have learned so much and evolved and healed so much that their vibrational frequency is so high that they don't need a body. They're not bound by the physical plane. They're not bound by the ego. When all they do is embody that love and that truth, that's when they become sixth density. That's when those souls evolve to sixth density. But at this level, since they don't need a body, and since they've gotten so high, they stay together. They're interconnected like a web, like a spider web. They're together as a collective consciousness, as a sixth density being. So that is what Zion and I have been talking about and what we have been working on. Zion is my higher self, but Zion is also a collective consciousness. And I think that's really, really cool. And so, if you want to hear a channeled message that I did with Zion, there is one on the community. You can go and check that out. I will plan to post more channeled messages in the community, and I'll share some here on the podcast as well. And we may even start doing like a live where the audience can ask questions, and you guys can talk to Zion. We'll kind of build into that and see how that goes. If that's something that you would be interested in, definitely let me know, because I would love to kind of hear your take and what you would like to see from this. I have asked Zion as well if there were any messages in particular that they were interested in sharing with the collective. And they said they really wanted to talk about vibration, universal laws and truths, and healing. And I thought that was really funny, because those are all lots of things that I do talk about on this podcast. You know, I do talk about all of those things. And so Zion pretty much said, no, like, we want to keep talking about the same things you've been talking about, because that is your energy. Your energy is our energy. So, of course, we want to continue sharing the same messages, because you've been pulling from us all along. You've been pulling your intuition and your intuitive knowings and the way that you speak and the way that you explain things from us, because we are connected. So they do want to continue to keep similar messages and similar themes that have been on this podcast. And yeah, if you want something to kind of compare it to, I suggest going and checking out Abraham Hicks, or going and checking out Ambi. She was on this podcast a few episodes back. She's got her own podcast called Inner Bloom, and there are plenty of videos and episodes of her channeling different beings. So if you just want to know more about channeling in general, you could check her out. But if you want to see the way a similar consciousness is channeled, I would recommend Abraham Hicks. Not that the Arcturian aren't sixth density sometimes as well, and Ambi does channel the Arcturian a lot, so you could definitely look for those episodes. But yeah, you'll notice that when these kind of collective consciousness beings are channeled, they use the term we. They don't call themselves me, he, she, I, what, you know, they're a we, and it's because it is a collective. And sometimes you'll receive information from them as a whole, and then sometimes you may get one specific guide that is a drop down of that collective consciousness. For example, I've been working with a guide who is part of the Zion Collective. Her name is Ashka, and she has been a feminine guide for me as of lately. She came to me since I've been doing more work on my vibration, and since I've been healing and kind of learning to embody a higher vibration more often. She has really stepped forward and has started showing me some new ways to work with my vibration and to keep it vibrating at a high level so that I can continue to channel and continue to have these downloads and these experiences. And yeah, I just thought that was really neat that now I can not only connect to my higher self's collective consciousness and tap into this, but I can also still tap into them individually as well, because sometimes we get close, to our guides as on an individual level, but just know that they're still part of that collective consciousness as well. They're still part of your highest self. And so you can always call on the one that you need. And that's like Ashka, she specifically told me I could call on her for tapping into that divine feminine. And there you go. It's kind of like working with the angels when you're not sure which angel to call on. So you're just like, angels, just one of you, please help me with this. And the right one shows up. It's the same way with our own guides, with our own highest self. We can just say, I need help with this. Just send somebody. Or when you are ready to raise your vibration more and move on to tapping into and connecting with a higher energy, then you can connect to your collective consciousness. I believe that we all have access to this. I don't think that I'm special by any means. I think that just like everyone is a medium and everyone is a psychic, everyone can connect to their highest self, to their highest collective consciousness, to all of their guides, to all of their angels. It just means working on yourself, working through your own doubts, your own limiting beliefs, working on your own vibration so that you can access these higher realms. And that kind of goes into the episode that I did about the secret to creating your reality. Like your vibration is really important. Your beliefs are really, really important. And what you consume and what you do and what you believe and what you heal, all of that affects that. So if, you find this really fascinating and you're wondering if you can do this, absolutely. You totally can. So that was my little side tangent. I apologize for that. But I hope that this helps you understand who Zion is whenever you hear me talk about Zion, whenever you come across any episodes or videos about me channeling Zion. I hope this just kind of helps you understand how we got to where we are right now. And I'm sure that the more that we talk and the more stuff that comes through, I'll have more little stories like this for you. So I hope that you all have a great day. This is for anyone who resonates with this podcast and is interested in more spiritual content. Have you checked out the Chasing Spirituality community? Well, you can find out more on my website, chasingspirituality.com. But this community is a wonderful place for you to meet like-minded people, but also be supported in your own authentic expression as you go on your spiritual journey and you learn more about fascinating topics, as well as exercise your own spiritual and intuitive gifts. We have lives every single month. There's meditation videos and courses and tons of extra bonus content and videos. So if you're interested in more content, please go check that out. We would love to have you.